Sure. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. You're
You're
right.
looking well. You're looking
Thank
well.
you.
You're
Thank you.
looking well. So, brother, today we've just been talking, getting guests on the show, talking about this whole Harry and Meghan thing, identifying what racism is and how really other people should be taking a back seat and we black people should be given the definition of how racism affects us. And,
Sure.
very serious thing that Meghan said on television, excuse me, during the interview that she felt suicidal. Now, as I was saying, it's not just about Meghan, it's about us as a community. She represents someone that is from our community. So it's not just about Meghan. It's about what we go through. And she's voicing a truth that we've known for a long time, that the royal family is in fact racist. So it's about how do we overcome that that trauma, that we are suffering with, but also white people suffer with it as well, with having that inordinate perspective of themselves because of their whiteness or their achievements, and they're being cheated of the achievements of black people. How can we heal this from ourselves, from this sickness of black inferiority and white supremacy and racism as a whole? I know it's a loaded question.
It's very loaded. Here's the thing. First and foremost, what is racism? And I think we need to get clarity on what racism is. Because if I'm being totally honest with you, I don't think 8 out of 10 people actually know what racism is, right? Because it's the ist that we've got to look at first and foremost. You've got a psychologist, you've got a pharmacist, you've got a therapist, yeah? You've got a racist. So what is the ist?
Come on.
The ist is the interest of someone's interest, or someone's focus, or someone's work, or someone's direction. Do you understand what I'm saying? So a racist, if you look into it from one angle, is someone who has an interest in their own people.
Wow.
Yeah? Right? Woo! So a racist is someone who has an interest in their own people. Now, then it breaks off. It has some branches to it. So that's the core of it. So a racist is not such a bad thing in a sense. Here's where the problem is. And then you've got another side of it as well. And there's a psychological side of it. There's no human being on this planet that can stop the first thing that pops into their mind. You could be standing at the bus stop and someone walks past and it just pops into your mind, I can just push them into the road. You're not a bad person. It's the first thing that pops into your mind you cannot control. But you can control the second thing. You can control the third thing. So someone may be thinking, I don't like black people. It may pop into their mind, for example, right? It may pop into their mind, but it doesn't necessarily mean in that moment they're a bad person. It's what they do with the second thought and the first thought and the third thought and the fourth thought. So here's my point to the next point of it.
Go ahead.
A racist, from my point of view, is someone who has the power to affect another person because of their race.
Say that again. Say that again. Say that again.
A racist, for me personally, some people may disagree and I wouldn't even argue with them. A racist is someone who has the power to affect another person because of their race. So, for example, let's say I own a business, and because the simple fact that I own a business, I may say, I do not want people to be served that are black. Or I am not going to give a job to anyone who are black. Now, my personal feelings about other races away from my own now goes into the direction of racism.
Teach.
But the racist itself is someone who has an interest in their own race. You can't knock people for having an interest in their own race. So, for example, the sister before us said her interest is black men. She cannot be deemed as a bad person because she's got an interest in her own black men. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah? But if she's in the position of power to affect other men that will cause harm or pain or loss, then it goes into another realm. Now, here's the other realm it goes into. And this conversation is being had. Well, we'll get to that. But here's another way where some people look at it, not all. So we're going to look
Yeah.
at it from different angles. Some people say most black people can't be racist. Yeah. Or put
They don't
racism
have
in
the power.
play
Yeah.
because there's no power. Unless you're going to stab or shoot someone in the name of their color, then fair enough, because you have power. But when you're not an owner of an industry, of a sector, when you're not in that position of power, then you can think all what you want about other races, but you have no implementation to make change. You've just got a view about another race.
Right.
And so the problem that you're having, or the conversation that they're having with the royal family, is that they have ultimate power over a country or a colony or whatever. So their views
Well,
can affect the masses. So
come
that's when
on.
it becomes a very uncomfortable or scary for some people's um, situations. Do you
Yes.
understand what I'm saying? It's
Yes, sir.
the implementation of power when you have a view about other races. That's when the racism is a problem. But if a white person said, for example, I'm only into white men or I'm only into white women, some people may say, well, that's racism. No, it's not.
No,
It's
it's
not.
not.
They're
Mm.
racist. They're racist. They have
But
invested interest. They have invested interest in their own. You can't
yes,
knock
sir.
someone for that. If a
Yeah.
black person turns around and they say, I have an interest in my own black people, you can't knock them for it. And this is where
Come
the
on.
confusion kicks in. And maybe
Challenge
the
me.
and maybe the conversation should be at all times, what is a racist and what is racism? From my point of view, I may be wrong, and I'm happy to be wrong, and I'm happy
Well,
to be corrected. But from my point of view, is when someone has the power to affect others because of their color, nationality, or whatever it may be, that's when racism, the control of a behavior, when it affects others, that's when it's a problem. Yeah.
yeah.
So, so what I am saying is, people may disagree what I'm saying, but what I'm saying is, when you have control over others because of their race and you do something to affect them, that's when it's a problem. If someone has an interest within themselves or their race, you can't knock someone for that. See,
Yeah, absolutely.
when birds are hanging out with birds, that's what it is. When lions are hanging out with lions, that's what it is. When
Yeah,
ants are hanging out with ants, sorry, that's what it is.
that's
Do you
right.
understand what I'm saying? And see,
Nature.
a bird can't look at ant and say, and I know I'm simplifying it because as human beings we all live together and we all work together. I do understand that. Do you understand
Yeah.
what I'm saying? I do understand it. But what I am saying is we have to first and foremost have a clear dialogue that everyone has. See, when you go into court, right? Just very
Come on.
quickly, when you go into court, even from a legal perspective, the first part, lawyers will tell you, and people in the legal profession will tell you, when you go into court, the first part of the case is to have a clear understanding what the legalese are. Let's first understand what words mean before we get started. Yeah?
Teach.
So you need to first, everyone needs to have a clear understanding what it means first. And
Come on.
I bet you if you ask 10 people, what is racism? And what is a racist? I bet you, I can almost put my life on it, that there will be different views. There'll be at least 3 to 4 different views. So
Hence the title.
well, there you go. So when most people are talking about racism, you have different people hearing different things, and you
Come
have
on.
different people who understand different things with the whole concept of racism. And
Go
so
ahead.
that needs to be the first part of the understanding. What is racism? What does Webster say? What does Oxford say? What's your views? What's everyone's views? What is a legal term? Because the legal
Mm.
term is one language. What does
Yes, sir.
The Oxford Dictionary say? Because that's
Yes,
another
sir.
language.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And then what is people's beliefs? Because that's inherited understanding. And I will say
Right.
inherited understanding because how many of us have learned words from our parents growing up but never looked in a dictionary to research what the actual word means?
And this is why I looked in the dictionary for what the word racist and racism means. That's
Yeah.
why I looked into it. And I said, okay, right, I see that. I see that. And it's so important because, brother, what I'm getting from you is that racist, or to be a racist, there's the polarity. So there's the positive, where I want to dedicate myself to my race. Like a violin player, if I play the violin, I'm a violinist.
Yeah.
If I'm studying science and the chemical compounds of it, then I'm a chemist. If
Or
a
a
woman
scientist.
scientist, exactly,
Mm-hmm.
scientist. If a woman is focused on the liberation and equal rights of women, they're called feminists,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you are dedicated to biology, you're called a psychologist.
Biologist. Yeah, yeah,
Biologist,
yeah,
psychologist.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So the suffix, I think you're talking about IST, suffix,
yeah.
it means that you're proficient. But then you got the other side of it, which is, oh, you want to now be a racist at the degradation or the expense of other people. Now you go a racist in a negative sense. But then what are you saying you can be racist in a positive sense?
No, what I am saying is, right, what I am saying is if someone, here's the clarity that needs to be, see, nothing's positive or negative until people make it so.
Yes, sir.
That's first and foremost. Nothing in life is negative or positive until a culture or a nationality or whatever or a community will say we now all have a clear understanding. This is what it is. How do we know? Because in the 60s and 70s, to say the word gay meant happy, and then
Bingo.
it got changed, and now when you say gay, it means homosexuality. So first and foremost, everyone needs to have a clear understanding. What does this mean? When everyone has a clear understanding before even, within a community or a culture or even like now that we're on a live, the first 5, 10 minutes is let's clear up what this means first. All right, does everyone have a nice kind of like baseline of what this means? Now let's go into it. Because I can almost pretty much guarantee that most people listening to this have different views of what racism actually means, or different views on how they believe racism is implemented, or if it can even be implemented. So I'm just saying it from an aspect just to kind of jolt the mind into there's many ways to look at this. And I'm not saying I'm wrong. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm saying you have to have an understanding, yeah, of what everyone is clear on first and foremost. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So that's what needs to be understood.
Because we had a girl on the show. She's a troll. She's blocked. Hence why you ain't seeing her on the comment section. She's blocked. We were talking about last week, our show. Oh my God. We were talking about the review of Coming to America. And me and other actors, comedians, and audience members of Black Car Speakers Lounge were celebrating what we loved about Coming to America, which, by the way, people, is #1 in America right now in terms of online sales. So we were celebrating the Black, beautiful, rich culture of Africa. And in our celebration and in our giving pleasantries and being laudatory of African culture, we saw her on the comment section saying, oh, that's racist. I'm like, wait. So Black people today, if we are celebrating our culture, celebrating our history, then I've heard dumb people say, oh, that's reverse racism. If you say you love Black women more, that's reverse racism. How can you go in reverse of racism, you idiots?
Well,
Like,
but that's a
some
good
kind
point.
of
See, that's my point. That's my point. The problem is self-conversation is a dangerous thing until someone can challenge it.
Mm, mm.
Self-conversation, because if you don't have, okay, we all have self-conversations, right? It's clear as day, yeah? And most relationships of all type break up when there's one person that's having a self-conversation and don't share it with the other for the other to clear it up.
Say that again. Wow. Wow. People hear that. Hear that. Hear
Yeah.
that. Go on, Kevin.
Right. And so this is the reason why I say, for example, you're in a relationship, right? And the person's probably passive aggressive, and the passive aggressive behavior would come from self-conversation. Yeah.
Jeez.
So you may pop down the road, and in that person's mind, oh, he's only gone to the shops, but he's gone 5 minutes too long. I wonder who he's talking to. I wonder if he's met someone. I know he's
Smeagol.
seeing someone. And all of a
Gollum from Lord
sudden,
of the Rings.
yeah, right. And all
Like
of a
that.
sudden, you get back from the shop 10 minutes late. 10 minutes late with all the goodies, and that person's now thinking that you're cheating, right? And you're like, where did this come from? Yeah, but they don't say nothing for like 6 months, and so they're carrying in their mind for 6 months that you're cheating on someone. But this is the self-conversation that so many people have.
That's
So
what
that person,
I saw him with an ex-woman, you know, and all you come back is your man's sister.
there you go.
It's his sister that he's hugging and embracing on the road.
There you go. And so even though it sounds like we're going off in a different direction to the question you introduced to me in the first place, what I am saying is when people are not challenged, when they have only a self-conversation, that is a problem. And so that person probably just said it out loud, well, via text, but he said it out loud, maybe because they wasn't challenged before by like-minded people of a certain type of mindset and behavior. Maybe they were the smartest person in the room. And the problem is when you're the smartest person in the room, you're going to be the dumbest person in the world. And so that's what happens at times.
That's self-talk and all that kind of stuff, conversations that people are having in their heads. So we can relate that to individuals and to groups. Self-talk, people, that is so deep. I mean, did you watch the Meghan and Harry interview with Oprah?
Yes.
What did you think of Meghan's body language and Harry's body language in the interview, bro?
Well, here's the thing. From what, I've been reading micro expressions and body languages for about 8 years. And I'm not saying I'm the best at it, but I would say I can read more than most. What I read, let's start with Harry. Harry showed major signs of a lot of nerves. And I'll tell you the reason why. I'm going to always give different kind of ways of explaining something, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, I get into a relationship with a girl, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this girl comes into my family. I don't go into her family. She comes into my family, okay? Whatever she does or experience or whatever in my family, it affects me. Have we seen that in our relationships? Like, if I have a disagreement in my partner's family, her family will put pressure on her, not me. They just won't like me, but they'll put pressure on her.
That's right.
Right? So her relationship is more in jeopardy than mine. Yeah? And the reason why I say that is because, do you know what Harry's got to lose? His gran.
Great. Yeah.
His brother. His brother. His father.
The whole nation, really. His reputation.
His network. His home. A certain level of his finances. His title. His connection. All what he knows, he's going to lose. So Meghan has to be very, very strategic and smart about how she puts her husband's family and his relationship with his family at risk. She's quick and happy to say a lot because she's got nothing to lose in comparison to him.
Wow.
So when she's talking from a place of strength. When he's talking, oops, my earphone fell out. When he's talking, can you hear me okay, clear? Because one of my earphones fell out. When he's talking from a place of recovery. So she's talking from a place of, do you know what? Yes, I'm a victim, but let me tell you about these idiots. And when he's talking about, I've got problems, and I just don't want the problems to magnify. She doesn't care if they magnify. She's in business mode. So yes, she has experienced pain, but she's in business mode. Because she sat down and she said to Harry, you've been cut off financially away from your mum's money. We got to start making some papers here. Yeah? And so when kind of like people say that Meghan is a bit naive, Meghan is not naive. I'm not saying she's not a victim, but she's not naive. She's a businesswoman.
That's right. Her paper game is strong.
Her paper game is very strong. Yeah. And so let me tell you something. We live in a day and age that when we go to a shop, before we buy something, we Google it to see the reviews on it and see if
The
we can get
rating.
it
Yeah.
cheaper elsewhere.
Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Are we gonna go on Amazon or are we gonna go on eBay? Let me check eBay and Amazon first to find out which one's cheaper. Megan done her
Mm.
due diligence on Harry.
Facts.
Megan done her due diligence, yeah, on the family. Even if she phoned her best friend and said, "Guess what? I just left Piers Morgan. He's an idiot. I'm gonna,"
Yeah.
and I went and checked Harry.
Because Piers like, yeah.
Second, my phone's
So
Yeah,
her,
we got you.
do you hear me? Okay.
Yes, sir.
So Megan, let's give a scenario, right? Because Megan is not no different from any other girl out there, right? Okay. More privilege, more opportunity, less privilege.
High burgundy. High burgundy.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Mm.
Here's the thing. Megan, let's give a scenario. Megan leaves Harry. She met him at the club, just like we all may meet a girl or a woman may meet a guy at the club, and she phones her friend and she says, "Guess who I just met?" Who? Harry. What Harry? Harry, Prince Harry. Okay, one sec. And they start talking about Prince Harry. Someone's gonna Google, someone's gonna text, someone's gonna find out. And what are the questions that people normally find out? How much is he worth? Where is he in the level of royalty? By her saying, for example, she didn't really know much about certain things, I don't believe that. Because the
I don't
average
believe that.
woman
1
would do
second.
major research on the most basic thing. Yeah. Now here's the thing. Men see, when men research for benefit. And women also research for benefit, but women also research for security as well. Men don't research a woman for security. Men would research a woman for benefit. And even though security is a benefit, security is a special type of benefit. So when she's she came out of she came out of a relationship. She was married before.
Yeah, yeah.
She's
That's right.
not trying to put herself back into another marriage that was the equivalent to the previous one.
She's hypergamous.
Right. Yeah. So she's gonna do a due diligence. She done her due diligence. There's no way she stepped in to any scenario. The fact that she's an actor, the fact that she knows how to read scripts, the fact that she knows how to do due diligence when it comes to roles in a film or a program, the fact that she's got friends and networks around her who are not stupid, they're on point, the fact that her mum strategically knew what she was doing with her.
God.
Yeah, there's no way that, see, people are looking at Megan as an independent person. Megan's got a network around her. Megan's got agents.
Yeah,
An agent would have said to her, "Do you know what? This is a good strategic business move," or "Do not go there." So, like, Megan is not that naive, and it frustrates me when people kind of talk about Megan, as I said, the romanticizing Megan, the naive person who stepped into a very serious situation. Yeah, do you understand what I'm saying, right? The average girl from Brixton would know to do their due diligence on Harry.
Come on.
Yeah? So there's no way that Megan, who's got more of a world view, didn't do no due diligence. Especially the fact that she left from Piers Morgan and she went to another party.
What was she doing with Piers? Because I keep hearing about Piers, you know. Piers.
Well, once
Piers,
again, how did she manage to link up with Piers in a pub? Someone's done the introduction.
Yeah,
link
that's
up with this guy here. And then she left from Piers and went to another party. Who told her to go to this party where there's another level of mindset of people and behavior?
Piers was pissed. He was pissed this week, man. Piers was he was so pissed that he walked off the show, man.
Yeah.
See the power of a woman. Oh God. Oh God.
But
I
understand
noticed the body language in the show as well, that her hand was always on Harry's in a certain particular way.
Well,
here's the
thing. If you go back and watch it as well, you see when Harry was trying to stop her in scenarios and she looked at him and smirked and continued. You go back to it and watch it again. There were times where Harry was trying to stop her. Because remember, here's the thing. She's got nothing to lose.
Come on.
Harry's got everything to lose. Let me tell you something. If my girl left my home, where my mum's living, my brother's living, and starts talking about my family, where it's going to put my family in jeopardy, I'm going to say, do you know what, hold it down a bit, because I've got to go and talk to them when all is said and done. You get what I'm saying? If my brother, if my brother died tomorrow, am I even allowed to go to the funeral the way you're talking right now?
Wow.
So even if you think about it, Harry was even saying at times, I'm not willing to say something about my family. What did she hold back from? What did she say in the name of future? I'm not going to say nothing about that particular part. She was happy to release.
That's right. About her dad, her sister, Samantha Markle, who she said she's been estranged from. She said her mum didn't say nothing. People, her mum did not say nothing. Guys, you know, I honestly believe, yes, we deal with racism, and racism exists in the royal family. We know that. But I honestly, really, truly believe there's a little bit of finesse going on here.
Yes.
And I believe that there's a lot of distractions in the media right now, people.
Exactly.
There's a lot of distraction. We've been distracted again. We've been taken off, people. Yeah? And this is like one big pasa family reality, Kim Kardashian's on steroids reality TV show that we're watching right now.
Yeah, and you know the reason why I say that's a good point, and I agree with you, is because once again, so many people are interested in their business but not interested in their own.
Say that.
Yeah.
Say that again. I don't want to blaspheme now. I don't want to say Go ahead.
So many people are interested in their business but not interested in their own business.
Her black mother said nothing, Candice. Kept quiet. In other words, she made it always dignity for someone not to say anything and talk up their business. And that's true. It's true. And I do applaud we speaking truth to power and calling out the family, because a lot of this is going to have a ricochet. Now, people are going to start looking at the royal family for what they are. So that's great.
No, I'm so happy. I'm so happy that they've done it.
Yes.
I'm happy that it's been done. And the reason why I'm happy that it's been done, because I believe that, like, I would say England first, no disrespect to the USA, but for England first, we're woke on another level.
Different level.
Yeah? And then I think like America second, or in a sense, and then you've got other countries around the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the reason why I say that, because I'm not sure if you've seen it. There was a documentary, and if I find it, I'm going to send it to you, and please post it if you can. There's a documentary with I know someone's going to know what I'm talking about. There's a documentary, and the man is some form of presenter. He's like a Rasta man, well-spoken British guy, and he goes to Jamaica. And he goes to Jamaica and he talks to his own parents that are living in Jamaica.
I know who you're speaking of. BBC?
Yes, I believe so.
I know you're speaking of. I forgot his name.
Yeah.
I know. Well-spoken, brother, though. Well-spoken, yeah.
Well-spoken. And he's talking to his parents, his black parents, and he was saying, like, he done his due diligence, he done research, and he found out that he's, you know, that I think they were Smiths. And the Smiths or something like, yeah, one of the two. And their slave owners obviously gave them their last name. Mm-hmm. And the parents start to say, listen, let's not change our name. We've got to worship the fact that we came from, you know, these white people who suppressed us, and we should be proud of it and all the rest of it. And he was in shock because he was surprised that his parents, the parents was almost offended that he said he was considering changing his last name because the name comes from slavery. And the parents were like, no, 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 they were good to us. They were good masters. They were good, whatever it may be. And they didn't articulate in that particular way, but that's basically what they said. And so when people are watching what she has said, maybe it's going to wake up a lot of people in the Caribbean countries who worship, because the average black family put Diana and the Queen on their wall. And
on the wall!
Right, so
on the money, bro!
Exactly. So it was the three people that was on the wall, yeah? The Queen, Diana, White Jesus. Right? And I remember I said to someone once, why have you got White Jesus on the wall? It's a black woman. And I kid you not, the woman hurried me so fast out of her house because I just simply asked her to just think about it. And so you've got a lot of people throughout the Caribbean countries especially, that when they see the Queen, they lose their sense of self.
Oh my God.
So I'm happy from that perspective that she's come out and she said, don't get this twisted, because you've got to remember in the UK, we are very, very aware. We're aware more than we realize. But when we start to go to certain Caribbean islands and certain places in the world, they don't have the same awareness that we do.
They don't, bro.
They don't.
We live in the garden, the back garden of the people that, I remember, it's the royal family are called, they have commonwealth. Look at the words, guys. Commonwealth. Yeah? Commonwealth. Australia, New Zealand, Africa, the West Indies, Canada, India, China. Commonwealth. And we're in the back garden of the imperialist, white supremacists people themselves. People, when you can go to the British History Museum, go to the British Library. We don't know where we live. There's a reason why it's called London, the Dons, you know. This is where the Dons come, Cambridge, Oxbridge. This is it. This is where
well, it's so on point. I've got to share something with you. So my parents are from Jamaica.
Likewise. Right?
Yeah, my parents are from Jamaica. And as Jamaicans do, so my mum's the older generation, my mum's like 80, right?
Oh, bless.
So you're getting that beating, yeah? You're getting the old school beating, right? And I remember one time, just me being a curious mind, I researched the words that my mum used to say when my mum used to beat me, yeah? So it was like, I'm doing this because I love you, and children should be seen and not heard, and all of these kind. You know the old time, yeah. I mean, do you want me to give you something more to cry for? Yeah. So it's like, you want to give me something more to cry for? Yeah. Yeah. And guess what? You know, every single word she said were the exact same words the slave owners used to use when they used to beat their slaves.
Wow.
Every single word she used to say to me were the exact same words the slave owners used to say when they was beating their slaves. So even when they was beating their slaves, they used to say, I'm beating you because I love you. And so the slaves used to have an element of appreciation because maybe they're being disciplined. So when I was watching that program back, they were using the exact same words that the slave owners were implementing into those people. Like, you can't be independent without us. You need us. Wow. And so let me explain something. So why is it that the bleaching in Jamaica, especially in a lot of the Caribbean islands, is on the level that it is? Well, let's go back and see. So when we're going back to the 1800s, for example, right? The times when Nanny of the Maroons and stuff were fighting against them and so on and so forth. But even before then, what used to happen, there was a difference between the American slave owners and the slave owners that were coming from Spain and England.
Yes.
Right? Greece, wherever, but Spain and England. Yeah? And the American slave owners. The difference was the American slave owners used to live in America. Their wives were there. Their families were there. The difference with the slave owners that were in Jamaica is that their wives were back in England.
That's right.
And at the time, a lot of the wives couldn't handle the weather, the bushes. It wasn't built up Jamaica the way that it is now. Obviously, there was a lot of bushes, so you're getting mosquitoes and you're getting all the things you don't want. So a lot of the wives couldn't handle the heat, and they couldn't handle the creatures, and they couldn't handle the terrain. So the men used to go over there. And so what used to happen, unlike America, the men, the slave owners, used to have sex with the black women. Yes, it was happening in America as well. But what used to happen, sorry, I've got another meeting coming up soon, so I saw a message come out, just look at the time. So what used to happen is the slave owners used to start having babies, as we know, with the slaves. But they used to fall in love with some of the slaves as well, because they didn't have no wives around. So they were bonding with them a lot more than the slave owners in America, because they had their wives around them. So what used to happen as time used to go on, they used to have babies with the slaves, and then they'll be getting old. So because they was getting old, they would say, all right, do you know what? My children is now going to run the banking, this era, that era. If you you would have stronger position. So what used to happen is, in order for the darker slave, not all, but in order for the darker slaves to get some form of holding in society, they had to do one or two things: try and lighten their skin, or try and have sex and have babies with a lighter skinned person.
Red skin, they call it.
So forward up until now, the same behavior and mindset is happening in Jamaica and other places. bleaching of
Yes,
the
sir.
skin. So the bleaching of the skin is because when they think back, lighter skin means that I'm going to have a stronger position in society.
And we still think like that today.
And we still
And
think
we
like that
still
today.
think like that today.
So even up until music videos, it's only recently, very, very recently, you're starting to see darker women in
Come
music
on.
videos. But overall, music videos up until this day, lighter skinned girls are classed as more superior than darker
Yeah.
skinned girls. And
Come on.
so the only times now that you see darker skinned girls have even a bit of even interest in society, if they've really got a big bum, or they really got big breasts, or they're really sexy overall. But when a darker skinned woman overall is just intelligent, look how many views she gets on Instagram or Facebook or any other social platform. Little to none.
Come on, brother.
And so even up until this current time as well, do you know there's one place where racism is not challenged? One place. Do you know?
In ourselves.
No. I mean the actual industry. Where
Industry. Okay,
not
sorry.
only racism is not challenged, but racism is classed as a turn on. Do you know what industry that is?
Oh, I think, you know what? The music, go ahead, go on.
No. The porn industry.
I was going to say that.
The
I was
porn
going to
industry.
say that.
The porn
No, I was
industry.
going to say that,
Right, the
bro.
porn industry is
Mad!
where racism is
Mad! That's
enacted.
so nuts. No pun intended.
Racism is enacted
No
in
pun
the porn
intended.
industry and no one challenges it. Actually, it's a turn on, even to black men. It's a turn on to see racism on their own dark women in porn. So there's even
Listen, are you listening?
situations in porn where white men are putting watermelons on a woman's head, yeah, and using racial slurs, nigger this, nigger that, and all the rest of it, and four white men are having sex with her, and she is accepting the racism, and the men that are watching it are turned on by it, and no one challenges the racism within the porn industry. It's actually a turn on for most people watching it.
Are you listening, sisters? Are you listening? And you know what? I have to say this because we're talking about the protection of women all this week, International Women's Week, all of, Mother's Day, every day. Let me tell you something. And I know, listen, it's funny, because I was listening to a barrister. I love to study the law. I love studying law. And I was listening to a barrister. And guess what? With regards to this whole vaccine stuff and it becoming mandatory, and he was saying, well, look, there's no maxim for the law that says it can be mandatory. And one of the guests said, it's funny you say this, brother. I hope people listen to this. Please listen. They said in order for this country to have what is called a health passport, vaccine passport, which means you can go in and partake in all the social pleasures of society. In order to do that, you need to go and get COVID tested, get the COVID vaccine and so forth. The one industry that says that you need a health passport and it's absolutely mandatory, because they can't make health vaccines passports mandatory. It's unlawful. That's another discussion. But the one industry that is required to have a health passport is the porn industry. And there's no vaccine for AIDS and HIV, but you're tested to see if you have AIDS, HIV before you go and indulge in porn. And by the way, porn industry is the largest money maker in Hollywood, not movies. A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah, exactly. And see, the problem is as well, and that's a good point.
And Instagram too is following.
And here's what the problem is. The problem is the darker the woman in the porn industry, the more nastier they become.
Wow.
The more ruthless they become. There is the comparison of dark-skinned women to light-skinned women in the porn industry to how they're treated is in a whole different place. So what a lot of people's got to realize now is when the average, every other race, even black people, if I'm going to be honest as well, when they see a lot of dark-skinned women and she's fit, all they think about is the level of nastiness they can do to her.
She black, she's sexy, yeah, man. She dark skin.
Here's what. Sorry, I'm going to jump a flank because I got one more minute. So I'm going to say one last point, which is such an important point. Yeah. Here's the problem. And this problem is gonna get worse within I predict the next 10 to 15 years. Okay? Listen to what I'm saying to you. Just remember what I've said to you here. The average child growing up into a teenager, growing up into an adult, the average teenager, should I say, they watch porn. Yeah?
Easy
The
on their
average
phone.
teenager watches porn. And so when they think about intimacy, they think about the dirtiest level of porn. When they think about intimacy, they think about the dirtiest thing they can do to a dark-skinned woman.
Jeez.
But what they don't think about is marrying her. Because in the porn industry, you don't marry your fantasy. Do you understand what I'm saying? You don't marry
Yeah,
your
yeah, yeah.
fantasy. You express yourself on your fantasy. And so what they do very strategically, they move the porn industry into the music industry. And then they say this is a softer behavior of the porn industry. But here's what the problem is. The younger girls growing up, because the guys treat them a certain way from a porn perspective, they have what you call developmental trauma, a lot of them. Developmental trauma is what happens to you in your adolescence, in your early years, right? And so what happens when a lot of these girls are growing up, the best way they can sell themselves is on social media.
Listen,
When they
people,
sell themselves
listen.
on social media, what they don't realize is now people are connecting three parts to that woman: porn, music industry, and what they can do to her because what she's doing on social media. So what she's doing when she's kind of winding up herself or flicking up herself or twerking up herself on social media, she thinks it's normal. But what she doesn't realize that other people are connecting the dots, and all they see with her is porn. So when a lot of these women are making their children do it online, like, oh my gosh, look how my daughter can dance. They don't realize that people are connecting the three dots together and even seeing their child as porn.
Oh my God.
So I know that it's really going into a sinister place, but I'm just trying to get people to understand where racism comes from all different angles. So the racism a lot of times is not just the royal family, it's the porn industry and all of that, who then reintroduces it in to the music industry, which then the girls want to now be a part of the music industry. So what are they doing now? They enact it on the social media side of things. And now, because we're in a time where, you know, women are saying, for example, it's my own body, which it is. It's my own body, no one tell me anything.
My body, my choice.
Right. You go and Google, for example, black teen. Now, black teen is classed as over 18, yeah? Black teen or black young woman porn, and see how much young girls from all around the world, British young girls, American young girls. It's like,
African.
What? Yeah, African young girls. And like they're all in the porn industry doing the most outrageous things, right? And it's like, once upon a time, a young girl would never.
You want to see
she'd
black
be ashamed. Her family would. Would disown her. And she, even within herself, she would say, I would never do it. So why is it to the level it is now? And I'll tell you one of the reasons why, and I've got to go. One of the reasons why. Because they've lost, like a lot of guys have lost so much respect for these girls, and guys will lie to them just to get the sex. They're saying, do you know what, forget it. If you're treating me like this, I might as well just make money from it. So if I've slept with 10 guys and they're treating me with respect, and you know, I haven't benefited from it, so I might as well just go and make money from it. And so most of these girls are going into the porn industry partly because they've got trauma, and it's their way of expressing their trauma. But the other side of it is, if 10 guys have slept with me or 100 guys have slept with me and I haven't benefited, then I might as well just benefit. I'm going to make money from it. Yeah. And so this is where we are. Is it going to get worse? Racism is going to get worse until people have the self level of respect within culture, community. It's going to get worse until men stop looking at black women, black men especially looking at black women in black porn from a racist perspective. It's going to get worse, because the only thing that black man's going to do is then look at social media and say, I want to do to her that same fantasy that I had when I was watching the porn. And women have to now turn around and say, I'm not going to put myself in a position of me looking like a porn star. But the problem is, I'm saying it, but is it really going to happen? The
I pray
answer is,
it happens. We need to make
I
it
doubt
happen.
it. People are
Because
going
it's
to be,
endangering the females. And it's called electronic prostitution.
yeah, yeah,
Electronic prostitution. And that's why I'm a straightforward, straight heterosexual man. I love the form of a woman. I love women, but I prefer black women. I prefer a black woman. I prefer to be with a black. But I'm a lover of women, but my preference is black women. So
yeah,
that being said,
likewise.
Kevin, that being said, I find women, black, white, I find women, Asian, I find them attractive, but I prefer black women. That's just me. And
Anyway,
I'm always saying this.
I don't want to, I'm going to listen in, but I'm going to jump into another
Yeah,
one. I want to say thanks
thank
for
you,
inviting me.
Kevin. Thank you. Thank you, my
Okay.
brother. That
All
was
right.
beautiful. That was excellent. Thank you. Thank you.
Take care.
Take care, Kevin. That was Kevin Bennet, man. And wow, I could have gone on listening. I'm not going to take up time. But guys, so we're talking about the protection of women, Mother's Day, racism, all of it is connected. Oh man, you're gonna have to rewind this whole video and listen back to it again, man. Kevin was dropping some gems, but listen, as I was saying, I'm a lover of women. Women, I'm gonna say this to you from a man's point of view. You're talking about you want respect, you want protection. I'm gonna say this to you. I'm gonna say this to you, honestly, from my heart now to yours. Please don't go. Wait for this message, please. You got to understand, respect must start with self. I make it my duty not to like women's pictures on Instagram or on social media. I don't press like. If they're showing their bum, their breasts, and it's all sexualized, I don't. Yeah, I like what I see, but I don't like it. I don't go to like it. I don't go and comment on it. When a woman's doing her exercising and all that kind of stuff, it's fitness, bigger booty, bigger whatever, I don't like it. Because I feel you can push yourself without sexualizing yourself. Women, please, sisters, you are beautiful. Women, all colors, you are beautiful. Honor yourselves. Let me tell you something. This what happened to the lady in Clapham, not too far from me. Yo, see me? I'm a jungle justice man. If I see a woman getting trouble on the street, I'm gonna deal with it. I'm gonna do what I need to do to protect the woman. I'm that kind of man. I see an elderly person and walk them across the road. I'm a lover of the community, yeah? And I want women to protect and honor themselves. I'm saying, please, there is no excuse for a man to touch you, trouble you, sexually harass you. No excuse. But please do not. I'm trying to put this in a way to be respectful. Don't put yourself in harm's way. You don't need to post up your pictures of your children, what school they go. You don't need to tell everyone where you're going, what you're doing, what you like, where you're going on holiday, where you live, how short you are, what you like, what you don't like. You don't need to put everything up on your whole business. We as men, we like jewels, but we don't want jewels on display for everyone to be seen. As men, we have respect for jewels that are there but are encased. It makes it more valuable. It gives it more mystery. More curiosity. But when the private parts, and God called it private parts for a reason, when the private parts are made public, there's no more mystery, there's no more interest, there's no more curiosity. But when the private is private parts, I don't see myself dating a woman, to be honest, who's got everything out there on social media that needs likes and validation. I don't see myself dating a woman that's putting herself out there for the world to validate her. I should be enough. I'm saying this. Walk the streets wisely. If you don't need to walk late, don't walk late. Yeah? If you don't need to walk through darkness on your own, don't do it. Keep your phone on. Yeah? Go and learn a martial arts. Learn Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Get yourself trained up. But if you don't have to go somewhere late at night, don't go. Even cabs. Getting into Uber cabs in your drunk. Don't feel that you're safe. Be very measured. Be wise today. Protection must start with yourselves. Respect must start with you. You must honor and protect you. And I'm saying this on Mother's Day because a nation can rise no higher than this woman. If you're not on point, we can't be on point. If you're not on point, the children can't be on point. If you're not on point, we're finished. We're done. So we need you. And I'm back the women that are out there giving a vigil to the lady that was murdered and killed. I back those women. I back them. I back the protection of women. I back the respect of women. But women, you must respect yourself. Be careful what you're posting out, man. All these fucking pictures out there. Electronic prostitution. Now, and man, then we must stop liking them. Then literally stop liking. We've got to stop encouraging it. We've got to stop that. Because we're feeding that mindset. That racist, sexist, rape mindset. We're feeding it. It's a beast mindset that we're feeding in. Hear what Kevin was saying about the porn industry? I didn't know nothing about that. The way darker skinned women are demonized. Hey, people, listen, I wish I could bring more people in, but I don't want to take the liberties with people's time. I'm trying to keep it brief, powerful. Play this back. Please share. Please like. Please subscribe to our Black Film Institute. I'm giving you notice. We're going on Zoom. We're going to be just doing things on Zoom and YouTube. We will be still doing this, but we're going to pattern up YouTube and Zoom. So to my American brothers and sisters, African brothers and sisters, European brothers and sisters, Asian, globally, everyone, please, let us respect the woman. Woman, please honor and respect you. Yeah? All right? I can say more, but happy Mother's Day. Love. Racism is a mindset that needs to be destroyed within ourselves. I hope you enjoyed this today. Please follow, like, and subscribe to our Black Film Institute, where you can watch this over and over and over again. Share it, share it, share it everywhere. Share it everywhere. Big up, Asia, Sweatstorm. Bacola's got a documentary. Please, Bacola, post out your link one more time. Post out your link one more time. That's a beautiful woman, a beautiful Black woman that is doing a documentary to educate us about law through film. She's a writer. That's a talented young woman there, man. That's what we're talking about. Let's do this, man. So Bacola, let's follow Bacola on her page, Instagram. Follow Kevin Bennet. Follow Sweatstorm. Follow Asia. She's an actress. That's our Black Film Institute side of things in America and Atlanta, because we're going to be doing some big things as well. We're doing big things. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll be back again next week, Sunday, 5 p.m. Follow, like, and subscribe to Black Film Institute YouTube. Black Film Institute YouTube. Stay blessed. Stay protected. Respect and love yourselves. You are more than what you think you are. You're a lot more than what you think you are. You are the writer. You are the producer and director of your own film. And that film is called Life. And you are the star of that. Obviously, God is the main producer. Peace. Peace and love.